Hello, Rank Squad. Uh, it's nice to see so many of you here. This is our first ever live on YouTube and on Twitter as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you're getting your questions in on the right-hand side. My name is Jack Collins, and I'm joined as ever by the Rank God, Mr. Sam Ty, on this, mad of days, Sam.
Yeah, crazy. Friday's our day off.
Yeah, normally
As,
everything
as
gets scheduled on a Friday. You completely leave the thing to do it. All the posts go out, all the bits and bobs happen, and we're off on the golf course usually on a Friday. It's our one day off, considering we have to watch Saturdays and Sundays full of football. So yeah, it's different. But here we are, and this was one we couldn't take off.
yeah, no shame, Leo. No shame, honestly. Come on, Barca, get it together. Poorly managed for many, many reasons, but first and foremost among it, ruining our day off. Now, mate, this is crazy. This is unthinkable and unimaginable. And I went to play football last night at 6 p.m. and I saw Marca had run a story saying that Barca and Messi were maybe, it was looking impossible for them to reunite. I thought, they've probably gone a bit strong on that as usual, a bit clickbaity. Picked my phone up a couple of hours later and there's a goodbye video on Barca's Twitter feed, which was genuinely like almost tear jerking, even for someone that doesn't even support the club, just because it feels so wrong and so weird for this relationship to end at a point where Messi is still in his prime. He's still the best player in the world. And I was just like, I just didn't see this coming. I thought he'd drop off very gradually. And then at that point, then take another move. Maybe it's to Miami in MLS. Maybe it's back to his old club, Argentina, Newell's Old Boys. I just didn't see it ending with him in his pomp. It just feels wrong.
Yeah, it's a really strange one, isn't it? And it's almost like unthinkable. It's very emotional, as you say, for everyone, I think. And neither of us are Barcelona fans. You're a Granada fan. I support Betis, and still, this is the point where we're
actually great news
going,
for us, mate. This is great.
Betis are winning the league, but that's a completely separate issue, right? But like, Messi's been at Barcelona for 21 years, right? 17 years on the pitch, 778 games, 672 goals, 305 assists. 10 league titles, 7 Copa del Reys, 8 Super Copa Españas, 4 Champions Leagues, 4 Super Cups, European Super Cups, 3 Club World Cups, 6 Ballon d'Ors. It's not bad, haul. You'd be all right with it if you were looking at it. I saw someone say that he's contributed to over 10% of Barca's goals in their entire history, which is something, remarkable. But it feels like a bit of a strange one, right? Because half of this is what happens now, right? How does the end of an era happen? Is this all just one massive power play from Laporta? And also, if it isn't, and if this really is the end, how does Messi kick on from here and move to a different club and start something new? Because it feels like a weird time to do that for him and a weird kind of option. So, I mean, I think what we'll do here is we'll start with looking at Barcelona and what's happened and why this has kind of come down. And I suppose it's easy to look at the kind of basics, which are that they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Barcelona are over their wage budget. They cannot register any new players until they get back under that. They've been offered a get-out clause in some ways by Javier Tebas, the La Liga president, who's basically trying to force through a deal with a private equity fund, CVC, to raise capital, which would free up the money. But one, that closes down the European Super League prospect completely, which Barcelona have never formally backed out of. And two, Joan Laporta, who is the Barcelona president, has rejected this, saying that he can't mortgage the club on 50 years of broadcast rights, which, to be fair, is a relatively fair shout. It's not a weird thing to be like, I don't want to commit to 50 years for a set fee now.
That's very fair. I mean, even in the context of the history and length and life of a football club, that is a hell of a long time. I think it's actually easy to forget that, like, I know football clubs have been around forever, but they're roughly somewhere between 100 and 130 years old in most cases, the historic ones. And 50 years is an absolutely massive chunk of that. We're talking about like several generations of people, and it is a lot to stake, and it is a lot to commit to. And I can absolutely understand the reservations there. Just the cynic in me is obviously saying, obviously you have reservations about the 50-year mortgage, but at the same time, the real problem here is that the European Super League dream is being crushed at this point. It's one or the other, and you're essentially choosing the one that you want.
It's a strange one, isn't it? It's like he's been asked to choose between the European Super League and Messi in some ways, and it does look a bit like he's chosen the European Super League, which won't be music to any fans' ears. Never mind Barcelona fans, any fans' ears, frankly. The best player probably of all time is being turned down in favor of something that was widely panned by pretty much all of its all of the fans and all of its critics.
But it is consistent with his messaging, which is he's trying to look out for the future of the club. So for the same reason, he doesn't want to mortgage 50 years worth of investment or 10% of this with an equity fund. He's also choosing what he genuinely thinks is the most stable option for Barcelona financially over a player who's incredible, but like won't be here for 10 years, right? He's mid-30s, so he plays as long as he plays, but he has been consistent at least in his messaging and his choices, if you don't quite believe sometimes what he's saying.
Is there an element here where he thought the Liga would back down and they just haven't? And it doesn't look like they're going to. At this point, I would argue that La Liga cannot back down, right? They are now at a point where if they back off and they let Barcelona do what they want, which is kind of, I think, what people are expecting them to do, given how valuable Messi is to the league, given the fact that La Liga will not want to lose their biggest saleable asset, right? Like that's a point to broadcasters, to everyone. Now, that's not to say that La Liga will not survive. I still think La Liga will be an incredibly strong league with or without Leo Messi. But there is an element to this that Tebas will not want to lose Messi. He's lost Ronaldo already. Ramos has left. You know, the assets are deprecating, if we will, in terms of what they've got left. And there's kind of one of those strange moments here where they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because they can't let Barcelona do what they want because it's been crucially and financially and fiscally irresponsible, right? Like they have run the club into the ground 4 years ago, almost to the day. And I know it's more complex than this, but kind of on a top level, they received the world's biggest transfer fee for Neymar, right? And in 4 years' time, we're seeing Barcelona in the dust. Now that's madness.
Yeah, we're up to what I think it's about 1.2 billion euros worth of debt. And that Neymar transfer fee, I mean, you look at the way that was spent. Goodness me. We're talking about 30 million on Paulinho. We're talking about 40 million on Malcolm. We're talking about those kinds of deals. So it's irresponsible across the board. And you look at some of the highlight tweets basically wrapping up Laporta's press conference from 10 o'clock this morning. And Dermot Corrigan's done a really good job of basically laying out what he said. And Laporta has said that Barcelona are expecting to lose almost 500 million euros this season. He said that when he had a look at the accounts when he took over and he won the election, he thought maybe they'd lose 200, but it turns out it's an awful lot worse. And even without Messi, their wages to turnover ratio is still at 95%. So I think with Messi, it was going to be about 110, or with his old contract, it's about 110. So spending 110% of what you earn on salaries, it's still at 95. They want the salaries to be at 70%. And obviously, the La Liga spending cap has come down a notch this season because we're now 1 full year into a pandemic. We've made even less money. We have to spend even less. And Barca are trying to get Messi renewed. And they're trying to register Sergio Aguero, Memphis Depay, Eric Garcia, and Emerson Royale. I mean, this is the reason that they're in this position. So Laporta keeps referring to the previous regime and saying, look at these mistakes, look at what they've done. And I get it. He's inherited an absolute mess. He really has. That said, he probably contributed to that mess in his previous term before 5 years ago. And he signed 4 players this summer. Do you think Memphis Depay is on less than 100 grand a week? Do you think Aguero is on less than 100 grand a week? Like, I can't help but look at all of the comments Laporta makes and just think, but you're part of this. Like, you've also done things this summer that you should not have done. If you are 1.2 billion euros in debt and the salary cap's coming down, why did you sign 4 players?
Yeah. I mean, a skeptic will argue that Barcelona needed those players in crucial positions. Someone else would argue that probably didn't need Memphis Depay, given the riches of attacking talent that they already have. But here we are. And look, it's a good point from Max, who says this is a transfer live stream or a eulogy. And I'm not sure, Max, to be perfectly honest with you. It's somewhere in the middle. Florence says Messi to Real Madrid. Now, this made me laugh because yesterday, while you were playing football, I was all over this, tweeting memes, basically. And just after the Messi announcement, Real Madrid did a comunicado oficial. And I was like, oh, no, you're not. And it turned out to be something related to the CVC deal.
Yeah,
but there was
them saying no to CVC.
It was literally 3 minutes apart. And I was like, they haven't. But yeah,
Messi wouldn't. That's the key.
I think so. I like Luke's Messi at 6 for United, which is Someone needs to play there. So
Yeah.
I tell you what, Man United have just announced that they are going to make a third substantial signing this summer, and that's put the cat amongst the pigeons amongst the United fan base. Although I don't think it's probably
Problem is,
going to
mate,
be.
you know what it'll be? It will be a fan cryptocurrency token.
Yeah, it's going to be an e-football signing.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to assign someone to their esports team, which is fair enough, but it's probably not the significant signing that people were hoping for. B Winrich 17 says Messi going to pull a KD and sign for Bayern. I mean, I've heard worse ideas. This is my legitimate question with this. I've heard worse ideas than Leo Messi going to Bayern Munich. It'd be fun. We'd enjoy ourselves. Although he would hate the Nagelsmann press.
Yeah, I don't think that quite works. But I made this joke to you yesterday before this all kicked off, and I'm starting to wonder if it's actually the best idea. Messi's had such a good time on holiday. Why doesn't he just stay on holiday until December, does a month of fitness work to get back up to sharpness, and on January the 1st, just looks at Europe? Or maybe I'll do a power ranking for him if he wants.
Well, actually...
And he could just be like, well, they're the best team. I'll sign for them. And just go and chase that Champions League trophy, because it's always held against him, isn't it? Oh, he hasn't won one for like a decade now. Obviously, it doesn't matter. There's more to it than that. But it'd be nice for him to get another one. If I was him, like at this point, you get the pick of clubs, and I just wonder, like, could he just wait, like just a 4-month hiatus?
It's a big call. It would be a big call, but you know who's going to turn him down in January, right? Quick fire ranking 23-1 from the rank god. You're Messi. You can move to any club in the world. You can't stay at Barca. What are your top 3 and why?
Oh, this is tough. I mean, am I supposed to be sensible?
You can't send him to Granada,
because I would actually send him to Derby County, because I think he needs a real challenge, and Derby only have like 9 players. So that would be a real challenge. Managed by Wayne Rooney. Lionel Messi, managed by Wayne Rooney. Tell me you're not watching that.
I'm watching it. I don't know if it would work, but I'm watching it.
It would be unbelievable. Messi in the toughest league in the world, the Championship, playing for Derby County.
Send him to Betis, put Messi on one wing and Joaquin on the other. Have the oldest possible wing partnership to win a La Liga trophy. Imagine how many headers Borja Iglesias would score.
Messi doesn't cross the ball.
He will. He will with the panda in the box. I'll give you that for free.
No, he won't. Borja Iglesias becomes the world's biggest distraction dummy. Worse
ideas.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely speaking, obviously with Messi, look, what do we get? We've got reports that Messi was willing to accept a 50% pay cut to stick around at Barcelona, and they still couldn't afford to get him on the books. What was
they are broke? They are broken though. Bear that in mind. It's not like everybody else is on the same kind of financial like irresponsibility that Barcelona are on.
So, what do you reckon? Like the absolute minimum Messi would accept as a contract per week on his next move, like 300 would be like the lowest he would go.
Yeah.
So that basically rules out almost everybody, doesn't it? I mean,
okay, let's take it a little bit out of this is meant to be fun, Sam. Come on, it's a mini ranking. Like you can take it a little bit. You have to go to a Champions League team. Would be my minimum take.
I mean, I do want to see him reunite with Pep Guardiola. I really do. I don't think I would send him to somewhere like Germany. The PSG narrative is incredibly strong.
There's a lot of storylines. I'm going to go into them in a minute properly.
I hate the idea of him going to Juventus.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Hate it. I absolutely
Someone did actually ask this. It was like, not for me. Yeah. Anch0133 said, I can't be the only one imagining a Messi and Ronaldo pair up at Juventus. Won't happen, but it would. I don't like it, Anch. I'll be honest. It's not for me. It's not for me.
I
quite like him at Inter. Imagine if this was just 4D chess from Suning and they'd sold Lukaku and Hakimi and all the rest in order to just free up contract space so they could bring Leo Messi and make the Derby d'Italia the new Classico.
Oh my goodness me. That would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? Man, I'm going through these options in my head and I'm trying to produce a ranking. And every time I picture Messi in a different shirt, I hate it. I hate it. It's just one of those things I just can't go over. You were talking to me earlier about a romantic.
This is the only shirt I can see him is the light blue of Napoli.
Yeah, and I was like, I hated that suggestion when you first made it. I thought you were an idiot. But actually, as I cycle through the options, not bad.
Look,
Not bad.
all we really want is a short Kings reunion. Insigne one side, Messi on the other. That is the kind of stuff I dream about. Like standing at the same height as Leo Messi. Like I want to witness that. That's what I want to witness from the sidelines at the Diego Maradona. So yeah, there's that. Right, let's keep going. Someone wants to know what you're drinking. Trevor wants to know what you're drinking, Sam. I imagine it's a coffee.
It's coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's just coffee.
This is a great shout from Stuart Robson. Surely we want to see Messi win the inaugural Europa Conference League under Mourinho. Yes, please. Yes, please. Imagine how much Mourinho would hate Messi's lack of running. that would amuse me. But yeah,
send Messi to Newcastle.
Someone actually did ask for this as well. We've had a couple of people looking at what they want. But yeah, the Newcastle shout was definitely in there. We saw it here. Joshua said he's coming to Newcastle. Yeah, look, it's a funny one, right? So let's go back quickly to PSG, because I think there's a lot going on at PSG. And I was looking at some of these storylines last night, and I was tweeting about them. And he'd be replacing Angel Di Maria, really, wouldn't he? The man who scored the goal that won the Copa America for Messi, the trophy he craved, the big one, the big.
The reason he's having such a damn good holiday is Angel Di Maria.
He's just going to bop in and be like, "Oh, sorry, Angel. Like, you're out now. I'm playing here." There's the Neymar angle, a player who left Barcelona to ostensibly get out of Messi's shadow and thrive in his own right. He'd be playing alongside Sergio Ramos. So long, his chief antagonist, rival across all of those Clásicos, the man he squared up to. There's those pictures, famous pictures of the two of them kind of going at each other. Mauro Icardi's still at the club. And if I'm not mistaken, and if reports are to be believed, Messi had him removed from the Argentina setup due to their personal friction. And biggest question of all, Sam, the one that really, really makes me think that he won't join PSG. What shirt number would he wear? Because they're all taken. All the shirt numbers are taken. And I don't know what to do about it. And that is genuinely the big kind of moment. I mean, look, Simon says Neymar actually helping to bring him to PSG. And this is, again, ostensibly true. There's those pictures from last week with Messi just hanging around with the entire PSG squad. And now
Verratti, Paredes, Di Maria.
Fabrizio Romano this morning tweeted, he's saying Neymar is working hard to make this happen. that's kind of the weird thing. I mean, while we've been live, I don't know if you've noticed, but Pep Guardiola has basically come out and said, we spent on Jack Grealish and he will wear the number 10 because we were convinced about him. We thought Leo would stay at Barcelona. Now Messi is not in our plans. Now, I know that Pep Guardiola has previously said they had no money and they've just splashed 100 million on Jack Grealish. So I take everything he'd say with a pinch of salt, but that's a pretty definitive statement.
Yeah, people lie quite a lot, don't they? Ultimately, I like if Cheeky Bigaristan decides above his head to go and explore those avenues with Messi, that's happening. That's not really up to Pep. It's not like Pep's going to turn around and be like, "What? You negotiating with Messi? I didn't agree to this." That's not going to happen. So if City's top brass are interested in this, they're going to be asking that question. Pep has come out with a lot of stuff over the years, and most of it is a load of rubbish. He once said he dreamed of a team of 100 Dantes and then promptly sold Dante. He once praised a series of other players and then almost immediately sold them. He said today, defending the £100 million fee on Grealish, he said, well, it's only possible because we've managed to sell £60 million worth of academy players. And someone has rightly pointed out that is a very flimsy answer. And it probably won't do when they end up spending 130 million on Harry Kane, because he's going to have to come up with 200 million pounds worth of sales from the youth players to carry that on. Like I wouldn't necessarily listen to a word that man says about this right now. It's a bit raw and a bit new, isn't it, for a manager to step into a press conference and genuinely talk about? What would you do in his position? Would you just bat it away? I would.
Yeah, I think you'd probably just ignore it, right? There's a funny one. There's a couple here that I really like. Ben Golly, backwards Cruyff, send him to Ajax.
Okay, I'm into that.
Now that
okay.
Ben, I'm into.
Now, as we go through these options, we can do like a live updating ranking.
Napoli are top of the ranking.
No,
Ajax have just gone at second.
No, Ajax are first.
Napoli Ajax have gone in a second. Sorry, Ben. There's no Maradona aspect of it, so it's not allowed.
I'm in charge of the ranking.
There's not enough deaf people. There's not enough deaf people in order to bring this together. Chad says Manchester United because who wouldn't love to play in front of the famous McFred double pivot? Enjoyed that a lot. Like that a lot. A serious question though from Jordan Selvage. He said, "Boys, Mbappe out, Messi in would give PSG the space on the wage bill to pay Messi." Now, this is something that Dean has covered in his Eurosport column today. So if you want to go and have a read, I mean, he doesn't have time for us when he's at Peppa Pig World, but he's still writing his Eurosport column. So you see where his bread is buttered. But it's one of those where, look, Real Madrid are excited about this in more than one way. Obviously, they're excited that they don't have to play Messi anymore. I'm pretty sure they're delighted about that. But there's also this aspect that if Messi does go to PSG, maybe it will give them. Look, I think you look at PSG's wage bill, right? And while FFP has been relaxed, they've brought in Donnarumma, Sergio Ramos, Chini Wijnaldum. Like, it is going absolutely through the roof. And when you look at that and Ashraf Hakimi, right? Like, there's a lot going on here in terms of wages. Bringing Messi in would send them stratospheric. I mean, they're already, if they're not already out of the atmosphere, they're close. But
True. I saw Adam Crafton from The Athletic tweeting this morning and last night about the fact that PSG have already started not just negotiating and contacting Leo Messi, but also exploring the avenues in which they can make a shed load of money on this and basically pay for the cost of Messi. And then this morning, Adam tweeted they've basically looked at it overnight and they think they can put the I guess it's the sponsorship and partnership deals together to make it so that Messi can ultimately pay for himself in Paris, which means, technically speaking, would you even have to get rid of Mbappe? And look, we have to refer back here to Jordan's question and recognize that Jordan is a Real Madrid fan and wants Mbappe.
Yeah, which is completely reasonable.
Which is fine, but Real Madrid also don't have any money. So, you're just going to have to sign him on a free next summer. And I'm almost convinced that will happen. That's been rumbling along too long not to happen at this point. No matter what Nasser El Khalifi says about Mbappe's right to leave PSG, he will in fact be allowed to next summer. I just don't think Real Madrid are going to have the cash to buy him this year. And if you're PSG, if you can add Messi and create a front three of Mbappe, Neymar and Messi, I mean... when I said that Liga was going to be my league this year?
Yeah, this double down.
I knew. See, it's somewhere in here. I knew it.
There's a couple here. Karam says, "Does Messi sign for Argentina permanently to focus on the World Cup 2022?" Again, I like it. It's fun. It's fun. Who's turning that down? TJ, I know you'll like this. The Villa number 10 behind you on the wall, Sam, is open now. With the departure of that man. Maybe you could just cross out the Grealish and write Messi on the shirt behind you. That'd be something.
If I could get it signed by Messi, just write over Grealish's signature. That'd be fine.
Yeah, Abdullah, he says, "Is this what FGS have been saving their money for?" Well, I mean, again, if this is Michael Edwards paying 5D chess, I don't think this is even 4D chess. If he saw this coming, that man is genuinely from another planet. So that's that. If Liverpool sneak in here and sign Leo Messi, there's too much going on. I think my head might explode. Stuart says Messi loved the Parkhead atmosphere. He did. He's famously come out and said that he was absolutely amazed by the atmosphere at Celtic Park. Messi at Paradise would be very much something. Ajeti would probably give up the number 10 shirt, I think.
Would he?
Yeah, I reckon he might. So I still think this is a nice idea. Look, Messi has also spoken in the past about his admiration for Ange Postecoglou, and the fact that he said he always did want to play, for him. So that's nice something, right? But I like it. This is a fair point on that though. Mbappe sees Messi coming in, he probably wouldn't be like, "Nah, I'm off."
I mean, yeah, quite possibly not. At least for this season, and then we see how it goes. I mean, it's difficult to get inside players' heads here. Like Dean has told us repeatedly, Mbappe basically dreams of playing for Real Madrid, and if that's a dream, then it's something that he will want to realize at a certain point. And Mbappe needs to be clever enough to realize that opportunities for him to move clubs will come around relatively rarely, because of how good he is. He has an opportunity to move on next summer. And if he doesn't take it, he may never move.
He'll get Harry Kaned.
That is the genuine reality of it. And so if Messi were to join, maybe Mbappe says 1 year with Messi and then I move to Real Madrid. 2 dreams. Two dreams.
Yeah, nailed it. I mean,
Yeah.
Alex says Kane must be scared if Messi's an option to be stuck at Spurs. Now, I don't think Messi is going to go to City, although I like it. I like it more than I like him at PSG, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, absolutely. I don't think they're going to sign Harry Kane and Leo Messi. Let's put it that way.
I can tell you right now that Messi will be easier to sign for City than Kane.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
This is why I'm here. That's my analysis, my insight.
Yeah,
that free agent bloke is going to be easier to sign.
There is also this Chelsea option, right? Where Chelsea are probably one of the three clubs who can actually afford Leo Messi, right? Chelsea getting Messi would be funny over the fact that Callum Hudson-Odoi would be like, fuck's sake, what am I do to get a game in? Yeah, I mean, it's true. I do think that if Messi comes in, maybe they have to stop playing wing backs because there's just not enough people to play. They might just have to go 4-3-3.
They're already struggling to get their £100 million players in or £50 million players in one of three spots. They basically play three attackers. One of them is probably going to be one will be Lukaku if he joins. The other one will obviously be Mason Mount. And then it's like, well, do we play Werner, Havertz, Ziyech, or Messi?
They're going to convert Werner into a left wing back. This is what I've decided that Tuchel's going to. This is Tuchel's overall plan. He's gone from being like a lethal finisher to a man who couldn't finish his dinner. And what they're going to do is just put him pegging it up and down the left flank. It'd be useful. Yeah. It'd be useful.
I would hate to see that. Should we talk about where this leaves Barca and their tactical setup?
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued because I think there's something here. I think we'll come back to La Liga to finish things off. I know there's a couple of questions there about it, but on the whole, I do think this is an interesting one for Barca. And I made an assertion to you, Sam, earlier that I wasn't going to make live, but I'm going to do it anyway because, why not? We're here. Is that I think Barcelona potentially win the league with or without Leo Messi. Now, obviously, I'm not an idiot. I don't think that Leo Messi leaving Barcelona makes them a better club. I think it makes them a significantly worse club. But I do think it solves some of the issues in terms of trying to get people into this team. And I think it means that you end up with this kind of partnership up top. I think it goes back to a 5 at the back. I think it goes back to a 5-3-2 in some ways. And I think it ends up with Depay and Griezmann up front, which is probably a little bit more tactically sensible, or at least tactically on paper, more of a fit than perhaps they were going to have to do. We saw Koeman trying to force back into a 4-3-3 after the 3-5-2 did really well towards the back end of last season. And I do think part of that was he was like, I just need to get as many attackers onto the pitch as possible. We talked about it on one of our Friday podcasts a couple of weeks ago about the fact that they were changing in order to try and accommodate more people. But I do think that Barcelona might just have a little bit more cohesion. And there's that element. Look, we talk about the fact that when Coutinho left Liverpool, right, despite the fact that Coutinho was unbelievable and probably Liverpool's best player at that time, they became a more cohesive unit because they were able to play to each other's strengths a little bit more. I wouldn't be a million times surprised if something similar happened to Barcelona. And again, I want to just caveat that with, I do not think this is a good thing. I do not think that Barcelona should be getting rid of Leo Messi. I just think it might work still without him, especially because Koeman is quite pragmatic in some senses.
Yeah, it's a funny old subject, isn't it? It's very double-edged, and you have to be quite cautious with it. I understand everything you're saying, and I absolutely get it. I mean, I'll refer back to last summer when our editor at Bleach Report asked me to put together an article looking at how Messi would fit in at Manchester City back when the chase was genuinely on, and Jorge Messi was speaking to Pep Guardiola and Begiristan. And I put the article together and I tried to draw up the tactical combinations. And one thing you absolutely cannot get away from, and it's not a criticism of Messi, it's just how it is. He doesn't run. Like he walks better than most people run. And he's not an energetic player. That's just not who he is anymore. And nowadays, the way you get the best out of Messi is to build a side around him that allows him to do what he does. And then a couple of other people, unfortunately, are going to have to do about 125% of the work to balance it all out. That's just how it is. And that doesn't clash very well with the top, like elite level of football. So the last couple of Champions League winners and Champions League finalists, we're talking Bayern Munich beating PSG and we're talking Chelsea playing against Manchester City. These are tactically refined, high pressing, super refined teams, right? And they're all athletes as well as technical talents. And Bayern Munich, for all their amazing technical talent and attacking prowess, worked their socks off in that final. They always did. Thomas Müller Leon Goretzka, they are a physical force. And the modern game is that. It's athletic, it's powerful, it's explosive, it's frenetic, it's full of pressing. The spaces are so tight. And you can't get away from the fact that Messi is a bit of an anomaly in that instance. And so if you put him on the right, if you're pressing, you're not going to press very well from the right side. If you put him on the left, it's the same thing. You almost have to, like, off the ball, you have to hide him a little bit in some positions. And again, it's just, I know it sounds weird because he's not a negative. He's not a net negative in the team, but this is just how it is. And that's why I don't like the idea of him going to Nagelsmann, because Nagelsmann will ask him to run 13 kilometers a game. That he just will. That's what will happen. And it just doesn't really suit him. It doesn't get the best out of him. So it is a funny one. And what will happen is Memphis and Griezmann will form a relationship, and a damn good one at that, because they're both very good players and they both complement each other really, really well. And they'll look good up front. They'll miss the moments. They'll miss the iconic cut in and shoot. They probably won't score as many 89th minute winners against Jan Oblak, but they'll look good. They will. They'll be a balanced team. And that 3-5-2, like Busquets,
the midfield treble, isn't it? It's all about that midfield treble.
Like, basically, I know, as your original statement, they can win La Liga without Messi. Sounds ludicrous on the face of it. Reframe the statement. Are Barcelona good enough to win La Liga this season with Pedri, Busquets, Frenkie de Jong, Memphis, and Griezmann in a 3-5-2?
And Emerson Royale just absolutely like banging it up and down the right wing. Like, that man's getting 15 goals.
The concern, of course, comes back to the centre-backs are like, they've only got one good one and they're trying to play three. So there's your concern. But in terms of how it shapes out up front, it does clear things up a little bit, I think. And I mean, Barca fans aren't going to thank us for this, but they're always going to be doom and gloom. But like, it's not the end of the world. And I don't think you're a million miles off. I still probably wouldn't back them to win the league, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think it's a fair kind of discussion to have at this point. There's a couple more. There's a good question from Max. It says, forgetting the finances and the fact that he's an upgrade on basically anyone in the world, is there a top club that actually needs a Messi type player? I mean, the answer is still Napoli. I know. I'm really banging this drum, but the answer is still Napoli. You'd argue maybe not. Because I think the thing is, I think the argument here is every club needs a Messi, right? Because he's the best player in the world. But there is a point to be made that modern football is all about, as Sam just mentioned, right? The pressing game, that high intensity nature. We're seeing so many managers move into that model, right? The Klopp, let's say, popularized. And it's the Rangnick model, really, isn't it? The Klopp basically took and modified a little bit. So there is that kind of element of this that, does it fit into modern systems? No. Does it matter because it's Messi? Also, no. Like, you just do it anyway. But the question is, do you need a player like that? No, because he's a unicorn. There aren't players really like him. The closest players you have to this element are like a Bernardo Silva, right? That's the closest kind of prototype. And Bernardo works his socks off. And that's the kind of...
As does Jack Grealish, as does Riyad Mahrez. Like, I'm just trying to think of like just goal scoring wingers, and they've all adapted to the rigors of the modern game, and they all provide the energy, or most of them do anyway. Yeah, you're right. Calling him a unicorn is the best way to describe it, and it can lead us on to the kind of the closing argument, which is no other team has ever had to really plan around this kind of player. They just don't have to do it. Because he's a unicorn, because he's unique, no one else is faced with this conundrum or dilemma of, right, how do we make a team work with Messi? Because no one else has to do that. No one else has to make those sacrifices. No one else is lucky enough to have to make those sacrifices. And so no one really needs one, because no one has room for one, because no one's built like that.
Yeah, it's a funny one.
I just got a question. I just saw a question there from Luke Armstrong asking, is PK the good one? No, PK's not the good one. It's Ronald.
Good at selfies, mate.
Yeah, he's good at selfies. It's Ronald Araujo from Uruguay. He's the good one.
Yoel, is that a picture of Dean as the profile picture?
That's a
Lovely.
picture of Dean.
Fantastic scenes. What are the chances of Messi to Dortmund? I think very slim. If I'm
seems
honest,
like Yoel. A BV. Doesn't seem like a Dortmund move at all, Yoel.
No. I mean, I like the idea a lot, but like, again, it's just not going to happen. Joseph said, forgetting the club, which league would suit him best? Serie A would be I agree. In particularly the south of Serie A, if I'm being picky. Although I
if it's
did
not
say
gonna be La
earlier,
Liga, if it's
I
not going to
did
be La
see someone
Liga,
else. Yeah, I agree. But I did see someone earlier say that you should go on a reverse Ronaldinho and take the 80 shirt, or just following Ronaldinho's steps and just take the 80 shirt at AC Milan. Milan have been looking for a 10. I mean, that, Çalhanoğlu's
and a right
gone.
winger. And a right winger.
Çalhanoğlu's gone. Maybe.
It really softened the blow, wouldn't it, of losing Jens Petter Horga if the replacement was Leo Messi.
It would. It was a strange one. Let's come back to kind of the final point, which was, can La Liga accept this? Can La Liga let him go? Is there a sense here that it's just too much of a loss for the league that something has to give?
Can they contradict themselves at this point? They've been so firm on their stance, and it's led to this. It's already escaped the pot, hasn't it? They've not got it. They've not managed to stuff it in there. They've not managed to bury it. They've not managed to be locked in negotiations. It's not a possibly. It's not a maybe. He's gone. Like, they said goodbye to him. He's out of. He's been out of contract for 5 weeks for a start. Yeah. He's literally not been an employee at Barcelona for 5 weeks, and now they said goodbye to him. And not Tebas. Laporta has basically said it's done. It's finished. I mean, this is it. So there's not a lot for La Liga to do here. I guess Barca probably will be on the phone every day going, please, can we register him? Like, please, like, can we, like, but what can you do? Can you really soften your stance there? That the point of these regulations is to make sure that these clubs are run more sustainably. Laporta has given us a very, very clear and honest window into how bad things are at Barcelona. I think he may have possibly shot himself in the foot here because he's been so honest. When he starts talking about the fact that he thinks this club are going to lose 500 million euros this season, you can't then say that publicly and then turn around to Tebas and go, but please, can we have this player on 400 grand a week? It's just not possible. And all the accusations of Barcelona and Real Madrid from other teams in the league, they get special treatment, they get doctored, they get this, they get that, they get handouts. It's that the revenue
would ratify all of it, wouldn't it?
It would just the broadcasting revenue just distribution ratifies that officially and tells you just how lopsided it is. But if they went back on it from here, goodness me, they'd never hear the end of it. Never hear the end of it. So this is it. They've set their stall out, and I'm sure that Tebas is freaking out because Messi has gone, Ramos gone,
yeah, he's lost.
Ronaldo left 3 years ago. This is a massive problem for the marketability of the league. Absolutely gargantuan problem. But I'll tell you what would be a bigger problem: Barcelona going out of business.
Yeah, no, that's
which,
true.
According to their credit rating, might happen.
Yeah, they're not far off. The good news is they still have Joaquin to stay as the poster boy of the league. So
the real face,
the real face of the league, the real GOAT in the Liga is still there, and that's important to remember. And I think on that note, we should probably call this a day. But thank you so much to all of you for watching. Thank you for sticking with us. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure you're here and hit the subscribe button. We will be increasing our output on here over the next, as the season begins and over the course of this season, we're going to be really kind of driving into this as a little bit more. There's going to be clips from the podcast. There's going to be more of these lives. We're going to be doing a little bit of all sorts of things. And if you missed any of this video, you can watch it back. It will be on the channel as just a standalone video in about 15 minutes time. So go back and watch it if you haven't seen all of it. All that's left for me to do is say thank you very much to Sam Tai.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Thanks for having me, dragging me on here. It was fun.
Bit new, something different for us. We're having a nice time. I've been Jack Collins. This has been Ranks FC. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We appreciate you, and we'll see you very soon. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you click there. We'll see you soon. Take it easy. Peace.